What if one day you suddenly found yourself thrust into the world of One Piece, right in the midst of the most brutal battle in history, Marineford? Could you change the fate of the characters you cherish? Would a single action of yours be enough to rewrite history, save a crucial life, and reshape the future of the pirate era? Let's dive into an alternate timeline where you hold the key to destiny. You feel a violent tremor. The air is thick with the smell of gunpowder and smoke. Shouts, the clang of weapons, and earth-shattering explosions reverberate everywhere. As your eyes open, the first image that strikes you is a desolate battlefield. Destroyed ships, black smoke rising everywhere, and thousands of figures clashing in chaotic combat. You are standing in the middle of Marineford, the Marines' fortress island, where the greatest battle in history is unfolding. You realize you're on a piece of shattered ground, not far from the execution platform where Portgas the Ace is shackled. Your heart pounds, a chillingly familiar sensation. It's Ace, Monkey D. Luffy's older brother, facing imminent death. The space around you seems to warp, and a strange energy surges through your body. You feel an unprecedented power awaken within you, a restoration devil fruit, the ability to heal wounds and restore energy to anyone you touch. It's not a typical Logia or Paramecia. It's a power born from your will, from an intense desire to alter fate. At that very moment, the image of Akainu, the Marine Admiral with terrifying magma powers, appears directly before you. He's unleashing a fiery magma punch aimed straight at Ace's back. Time seems to slow. You see Luffy, screaming helplessly in despair. You see Whitebeard, his body frail, attempting to rush forward. But no one is fast enough. No one. Except you. Without a moment's hesitation, driven by pure instinct, you reach out. A brilliant blue light erupts from your palm, quickly forming a transparent, crystal-like energy shield. This shield materializes directly behind Ace, intercepting Akainu's magma punch. Crack! A deafening collision echoes across Marineford. Akainu, always confident in his destructive power, is unexpectedly pushed back a few steps, a fleeting look of surprise on his face. His punch is blocked, and a wisp of white smoke rises from your shield. Your action immediately draws all eyes. The fierce battle momentarily seems to pause. Thousands of gazes from both Marines and pirates turn towards you, the mysterious figure who just appeared and thwarted Admiral Akainu's finishing blow. Ace, who just narrowly escaped the scythe of death, looks at you with stunned eyes. Luffy, his face streaked with tears and dirt, seems unable to believe what he just witnessed. And Whitebeard, the legendary Yonko, despite his severe injuries, manages a weary smile as if a new spark of hope has ignited. You have truly intervened in the timeline. The Battle of Marineford will now be no longer as history intended. As your energy shield dissipates, Ace turns to look at you, his eyes filled with both astonishment and gratitude. The searing burn on his back is still there, but it's no longer a fatal wound. Without hesitation, you place your palm on Ace's injury. A pleasant warmth spreads from your hand, and the blue light flares up again. You feel the energy from the restoration devil fruit flowing, mending every muscle fiber and damaged blood vessel. In mere seconds, the blistering wound from Akainu's magma vanishes completely, leaving behind unblemished, healthy skin. Ace's eyes widen in disbelief as he touches his back, feeling the miraculous recovery. His strength also seems to be restored. The flames from his body surge more intensely than ever before. Your actions have changed everything. Akainu, after being pushed back, becomes enraged. He can't believe anyone dared to thwart him. He roars, unleashing a barrage of magma punches at you and Ace. But now, Ace is restored, and he's no longer an easy target. He uses his Mera Mera no Mi power, creating walls of fire and fiery punches to counter Akainu. You stand beside Ace, focusing your energy to create smaller shields, deflecting Akainu's attacks and protecting Ace from surprise blows. The crowd of Marines and pirates witnesses this scene with varying expressions. The Marines are bewildered and furious, while the pirates cheer in excitement. Whitebeard, despite struggling with his fatal wounds, manages a radiant smile. He looks at you with eyes full of admiration, seemingly placing his trust in your sudden appearance. Luffy, tears still in his eyes, now lets out a joyous roar. He lunges forward, no longer a desperate, exhausted combatant, but a warrior full of hope. With your support, Ace and Luffy can now coordinate better than ever. Ace uses his flames for powerful long-range attacks, while Luffy utilizes his Gomu Gomu no Mi and Haki to close in, delivering powerful punches. You maintain a safe distance, but are always ready to intervene when needed. You feel your energy depleting from continuous use of the Devil Fruit, but your fierce will to save Ace pushes you beyond your limits. Each time Akainu launches a dangerous attack, you create a shield or a surge of restorative energy to neutralize it. The battle between Akainu and Ace along with Luffy becomes more balanced. The Marines start to worry. The other admirals, Kizaru and Aokiji, notice the shift in momentum and begin to intervene. Kizaru fires deadly light beams while Aokiji creates sharp ice spears. You have to divide your attention, maintaining the restoration ability for Ace and Luffy while simultaneously creating shields to block attacks from the other two admirals. You feel the immense pressure bearing down on you, but seeing Luffy's determined eyes and Ace's bright smile, you know you cannot give up. The fate of this world rests in your hands, and you will not let it slip away. The Battle of Marineford grew increasingly chaotic. Even though you saved Ace, the Marines were still determined not to let him and Luffy escape. Vice Admirals and the Warlords of the Sea began to close in, forming a massive human wall to block the pirates' retreat. You realized you couldn't just keep playing defense. To protect Ace and Luffy, you needed to help them carve a path to freedom through this encirclement. You focused your power, feeling the energy from the Restoration Devil Fruit surging within you. You plunged into the heart of the Marine formation, using your ability more proactively. Each time a Marine tried to attack Ace or Luffy, you'd create a small burst of energy, just enough to throw them off balance or weaken their attack. You weren't a direct combatant, but your supportive and nullifying abilities were incredibly valuable, creating small openings in the Marines' dense defensive line. Among those fighting, you paid special attention to Luffy. His eyes were filled with determination and deep affection for Ace. You understood that no matter how strong he became, Luffy was still a young man desperately trying to save his brother from a cruel fate. At one point, Kizaru unexpectedly attacked Luffy with a light beam and he fell to his knees. Without a moment's hesitation, you rushed over, placing your hand on Luffy's shoulder. The blue light flared again, instantly healing his wounds and restoring his energy. Luffy turned to look at you, his eyes filled with both surprise and profound gratitude. He nodded, a radiant smile spreading across his face, and continued the fight with an even tougher spirit. In that moment, an invisible but strong bond formed between you and Luffy, an unspoken understanding. As the battle continued, the pressure from the three admirals became extreme. Kizaru with his blinding light beams, Akainu with his destructive magma, and Aokiji with his chilling ice all attacked relentlessly. You felt your energy rapidly depleting. Your body began to tremble and your vision blurred. You knew you couldn't maintain the energy shields indefinitely. However, you saw Whitebeard's pirates fighting to their last breath to open an escape route. You saw Jinbei steadfastly protecting Luffy. You realized you weren't alone. In one horrifying moment, Kizaru concentrated an extremely powerful beam of light, aiming it directly at Ace and Luffy, who were surrounded by a group of high-ranking Marines. It was a fatal blow, one no one could avoid. You knew what you had to do. Taking a deep breath, you poured all your remaining energy, even a part of your own life force, into the Restoration Devil Fruit. A gigantic green light erupted, spreading outwards, forming a transparent energy shield that covered not only Ace and Luffy, but a large area, including some nearby Whitebeard pirates. Kizaru's light beam slammed into the shield, creating a deafening explosion. The ground shook violently. You felt a searing pain throughout your body, as if thousands of needles were piercing you. Your shield vibrated intensely, but it didn't break. It had completely stopped Kizaru's attack. As the green light faded, you sank to your knees, gasping for breath. You were utterly exhausted, but you had saved them all. Whitebeard's pirates and Jinbei all turned to look at you with eyes full of both astonishment and admiration. You had pushed past your limits, not only saving Ace, but also protecting your new comrades.
A piercing pain shot through your body, but the sound of a ship's horn echoing from the sea brought a new surge of strength. It was red-haired Shanks, along with his crew, who had appeared. The arrival of this Yonko immediately brought the Battle of Marineford to a standstill. Shanks boldly declared an end to the fighting, and no one dared to defy him. The Marines, though reluctant, had no desire to confront another Yonko. But the escape wasn't over yet. Even though Shanks had temporarily halted the battle, you knew the Marines wouldn't miss the chance to capture Ace and Luffy. While everyone was still reeling, you used your last ounce of strength to help Ace and Luffy to their feet. Both were exhausted, but their eyes still burned with the will to survive. Jinbei and the remaining Whitebeard pirate commanders quickly gathered, protecting Ace and Luffy, forming a solid defensive circle. You focused on supporting Ace and Luffy, continuously restoring them. Each time a Marine tried to approach, you'd create a small burst of energy to repel or delay them. You knew your restoration ability wasn't infinite and you were running on empty. But seeing Ace's faint smile, seeing Luffy's grateful eyes, you vowed to protect them to the very end. At this moment, Whitebeard, Edward Newgate, still stood tall despite countless fatal wounds. He looked at you with eyes full of admiration, then turned to Ace and Luffy, offering a final smile. He roared, declaring the existence of the One Piece treasure, affirming that it was real, before taking his last breath. Whitebeard's death reverberated throughout Marineford, bringing immense sorrow to his sons, but also igniting a new flame for the entire world. While others were consumed by grief, you felt a strong urge. You knew you couldn't change Whitebeard's death. It was his destiny. However, his passing now felt grander, more complete. You placed your hand on Whitebeard, trying to transfer your last bit of energy. Though you couldn't save him, you helped him depart peacefully, easing some of his pain. With Shanks' intervention and the chaos following Whitebeard's death, the pirate forces began to retreat. You, along with Ace, Luffy, and Jinbei, jumped onto a Whitebeard pirate ship, leaving Marineford, which was engulfed in smoke and flames. Looking back at the devastated fortress island, you felt an immense sense of relief. You had done it. You had changed history. Ace was alive. The ship cut through the large waves, heading towards an uncertain future. You watched Ace and Luffy leaning on each other, both exhausted, but their eyes full of hope. You had been a part of this historical moment, and your journey in the world of One Piece had only just begun. After the escape from Marineford, you and the surviving Whitebeard pirates, along with Luffy and Jinbei, landed on a secluded island. The battlefield's tension slowly faded, replaced by exhaustion and a lingering pain. Ace, though having narrowly escaped death, still needed time to fully recover both physically and mentally. You stayed by his side, using your ability to accelerate his recovery while quietly observing. You saw Ace talking with Luffy, their eyes filled with immense relief and deep brotherly affection. Your presence had altered a historical moment, and you began to grasp the magnitude of your actions. News of Ace's survival spread across the world like a storm. The world government and the Marines were utterly shocked. The pirate era, already tumultuous, now became even more chaotic and unpredictable. The Marineford event, instead of being a resounding victory for the Marines, became a testament to their powerlessness against the strength of will and hope. You, the mysterious figure who appeared and intervened with destiny, became a living legend among pirates and those yearning for freedom. In the following days, you had more opportunities to interact with Luffy. He was always full of energy, optimistic, and possessed a strange charisma. Luffy constantly thanked you for saving Ace, and he considered you a close friend, a trusted ally. You realized that the bond between you and Luffy wasn't just because you saved his brother, but also a shared adventurous spirit and relentless will. Luffy told you about his dream of becoming the Pirate King, about the crewmates he was searching for, and the adventures he had experienced. You listened and felt that you truly belonged in this world, a part of this grand journey. You decided to accompany Luffy and Ace for a short period to ensure their safety and to witness the immediate impacts of your actions. You saw Ace, now free, no longer haunted by his near-death experience. He became stronger, more determined, and ready to face any challenge. Ace's survival was not only a joy for Luffy and his loved ones, but also a symbol of a new era where limits could be broken. However, you knew you couldn't stay forever. Your role was that of a catalyst, a changer of destiny, not a fixed part of this timeline. Once Ace had fully recovered and Luffy was ready to continue his journey, you decided it was time to leave. You bid farewell to Ace and Luffy, giving them a promise you would always watch over them, and if they ever needed help, you would appear. You left them an imprint of your courage and extraordinary ability, a memory of the one who rewrote history. With a final, faint blue light, you faded into nothingness, leaving Luffy and Ace with expressions of regret, but also full of hope. You had completed your mission. The world of One Piece now had taken a completely different turn, thanks to your intervention. Your story would become a legend, a mystery, but the legacy you left behind, Ace's life and a promising future for the world, is undeniable. Your journey in the world of One Piece has concluded, but the changes you wrought will echo forever. What would you choose if you had the chance to change destiny? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this story and want to explore more unique scenarios, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.